And we are here to do a brand new episode of the Wrestling Drizzle Show. And I've been kind of combining this stuff like with the sports review show, but I think it's just time to have its own episode. So, what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate WWE first, and then we're going to go into the other stuff that's going on, the other companies and pay per views. So, first and foremost, I want to just say last night's Monday Night Raw was I don't even know what to say. Okay, high moments, good moments, positive moments, but then there was absolutely horrible booking in some of these matches that should have not taken place, honestly. And we had a Hall of Famer return that I don't frankly think that WWE needs for SummerSlam, because you've already got John Cena coming back. Who John Cena showed up last night. He cut a promo basically calling out Roman Reigns, saying, basically, Roman Reigns, you're an asshole. We're tired of hearing about how good you are. I'm going to put you in your place at SummerSlam. I'm okay with that with Cena. Some people didn't like that promo because it wasn't your typical Attitude Era John Cena, back in the Diz-A point there with segment, like promo, I guess that's what I mean. Um, the Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee thing, I absolutely hated that. 100% hated it as a fan because you were burying Keith Lee, who just came back to the main roster. I don't see the point in that. I don't. Not 1% of makes sense in that issue. Now, let's get on to the Karrion Kross thing. So, Karrion Kross shows up last night. No entrance music, no theme music, no Scarlett, no manager. Scarlett isn't even there. Nothing. And this is the guy who's your NXT champion, by the way, who's undefeated, and yet you have him lose his first night on the main roster to Jeff Hardy. And before that, Jeff Hardy was buried into catering, hanging out in catering, drinking coffee. Again, you have ruined Jeff Hardy's career already in WWE, and I actually like Jeff Hardy. I think Jeff Hardy could be one of your top stars on Monday Night Raw, but you're not pushing this guy. That annoys me because Jeff Hardy has always been a world champion caliber talent, and yet you continue to bury him, and then you put him against Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross got rolled up by Jeff Hardy and got beat on the first night of his night on Monday Night Raw, his debut. That, to me, is absolutely horrible booking. Like, I don't know what the people backstage are doing, the writers or the creative team. I don't know if they're smoking joints, if they're doing, like, acid gummy bears backstage, or if Vince is just, like, out of his mind at this point, because I knew as soon as he went to the performance center that he was just going to start screwing everybody over. Like, him and Bruce Pritchard are probably the worst people that they could have in charge. Everything that Triple H has done in NXT with pushing these talents and making them stars, and when they go to the main roster, it's like, rest in peace, dear dead, your career's over with. Because look at Keith Lee, look at Ricochet, look at what happened to Aleister Black, look at what happened to half of the people from NXT that have gone up to the main roster. Their careers have gone nowhere because of Vince. I'm just saying it. And to put Goldberg at SummerSlam against Bobby Lashley is probably the worst decision you could make. Like, I understand, like, you have to have a top match for Raw. Okay, get it. But you have talent there who you could put Bobby Lashley against, like a Sheamus. Okay? I'm just saying this. Sheamus is not somebody who is dog poop on the main roster. He's been a world champion. He's a United States champion, Intercontinental champion, WWE champion. He's held just about every single belt you could think of. Now, I'm going to get into the women's division big time here. Also, so you have this amazing match between Rhea and Charlotte Flair at the pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. Okay, then tonight you decide that you're going to allow Nikki Cross, Miss Superhero wannabe, dressed up as a gummy bear, cash in the briefcase, win the championship, and then where do you go from here? Because your women's division on Raw is garbage without Becky Lynch. Okay? Number one, Charlotte Flair is not somebody who should be holding that championship. She cannot keep up with the younger talent. Okay, she may be in her mid 30s, and yes, I'm not saying she can't wrestle. She can wrestle, but she can't keep going at the pace that she's been going for years. She's had too many injuries. I think that she needs to take time off. Let Becky take over that division on Raw. Like, now, so here's your lovely women's division on Raw. So first and foremost, you've got Nikki Ash, Miss Superhero, Miss Gummy Bear Girl, as your world champion. You've got Alexa Bliss, who's possessed by demons and who took Bray Wyatt's whole entrance and his move sets, and now she comes back with a doll named Lily and it's screwed up. Oh my god. Then you allow Eva Marie to come back, and by the way, she's absolutely terrible in the ring, just to let you know. That is the worst female wrestler ever in WWE history. Why would you allow her to even come back? Don't understand it. I think it's because you were morons and you decided to fire half the women's division on SmackDown, so then you have to make up all these people coming up. Then I just want to point out, okay, that then you have the whole scandal with the Usos, with the drinking, DUI issues, and WWE not punishing them for anything, which I think is nonsense. They should have been punished. They should have been suspended, for God's sakes. I don't care if they're related to The Rock. I have no issues with The Rock. I just don't like Jay and Jimmy Uso anymore. I think they're dumbasses. Want my honest opinion. Now, my issue is Raw, to me, you have a lot of talent there, but you have horrible booking. That is the main problem. Monday Night Raw last night had a lot of ups and downs. I would give the show at least an 8.4. Okay, I'm not giving it no 10. That's not happening. That it was not even that good. But I would give it at least an 8.4. But now, let's get into this pay-per-view, okay? Money in the Bank. What I honestly think about Money in the Bank. I would give the Money in the Bank pay-per-view a 9. I think that is worth watching. I like the tag matches. I like the women's match, the Money in the Bank matches. All that stuff. I liked all of that. I had no issues with the pay-per-view, actually. I thought the pay-per-view was decent. However, I didn't like Nikki Ash, Miss Gummy Bear, whatever the hell she wants to call herself now, Miss Superhero, wants to just, the following night cash that in without any plans. Apparently that wasn't even planned by the booking, so that was just Vince's idea. But what I just want to point out is that Nikki Cross should have never won that briefcase. You know who I think should have won that briefcase? I'm going to give you two people who deserve that briefcase a lot more than Miss Super Wannabe Girl, Spice Girl Wannabe. So I just want to point out that Naomi deserves that after everything that she's been through. Just pointing it out there, okay? Asuka also would deserve that briefcase. In fact, I would have given it to Asuka or Alexa Bliss. That makes more sense, okay? But this whole entire thing with Alexa Bliss and The Fiend and Bray Wyatt and all that stuff, like, Bray Wyatt is buried now because WWE has said, well, if Alexa is using his finisher and his entrance music, why are we even having Bray on the roster? Why is he here? So I could see Bray Wyatt eventually leaving WWE, probably for AEW or Ring of Honor or Impact, because they're not using him the way that he should be used. And then you bring back Goldberg, who is 50 some years old, almost 60 years old. I think he is 60 years old. And you're going to have him fight Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam? Like, come on. Okay, so and the Raw tag division is just garbage at this point. Oh, by the way, like there's no contenders for these belts. Not a single tag team on that roster deserves a title shot against AJ and Almost. Like I don't give a crap about the Viking Raiders. I don't give a crap about Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. They don't deserve those belts. What have they done as a tag team to deserve those belts? If there was a tournament where they competed against each other, just see who number one contender was, that's what they should have done, right there. But no, WWE decides to just be dumbasses and not do anything about it. That's why their tag division on Raw is pathetic, and it's done. It's over with. You can't do anything with that division. The same thing with the women's tag team championships as well. You can't do anything with that because you have no competition. You can bring up Shotzi Blackheart. You can bring up Tegan Knox. You can bring up Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. Whoever you want to bring up. Even Amber Moon. You can bring any of those women up. It's not going to matter with Bayley out. I'm just saying. Without Bayley and with Charlotte absolutely falling flat on her wrestling skills now, and I don't care. Like, she can call herself the queen all she wants to, but she's not proven that to me. Not anytime recently. So, with that, I just want to say that WWE needs to let Edge wrestle Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Bobby Lashley needs a whole nother opponent. I don't give a crap about Goldberg. I don't want to see Goldberg wrestle. I don't. I'm sorry. If it was Brock Lesnar, yes. Okay, that would be a really good match. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that because the negotiations fell through and basically, yeah, not going to happen. So, now this women's match on SmackDown, Bianca, like, they need to figure this out too, because who is her opponent going to be? If it's not Sasha, then who's going to be her opponent? There's nobody there on the roster, SmackDown-wise, other than Liv Morgan, who I actually think would be good in that match at SummerSlam, but whatever. Or maybe even like a Natalya. Like, nobody else on the roster there is worthy of that title. Oh, God. Sorry. WWE just frustrates me terribly badly, and it's just unbearable what they're just ramming people down our throats from NXT to the main roster, and they're just burying people left and right. Creative is just garbage. There was a writer that was fired recently as well. Money in the Bank, I would give it probably a 7 overall. Yeah. And Peacock, by the way, that was a horrible streaming pay-per-view. It just kept lagging out, buffering. I had to keep logging in and out of the account to be able to watch it. It was just absolutely horrendous. Yeah, so just heads up there. Peacock's streaming for WWE product is just absolutely god-awful. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys, and I'm trying to be real with you and just say that WWE right now they have no clue what they're doing. And I apologize, if I've said anything in this video, but I'm trying to be real with you guys and just say that WWE product right now is absolutely terrible, and they have no direction for half of their talent, and the writers are just keep getting fired left and right. So, we're going to move on from that disaster of a program and company to something that's actually good, which is AEW. AEW have started doing live shows, and I've been noticing that we've been getting some great matches, honestly, especially in the tag team division. Eddie Kingston and Pentagon Jr. are a great tag team, by the way. To me, AEW is doing everything correct with their talents, and bringing in veterans like a Christian Cage and a Matt Hardy, and like I said, the New Japan talent as well coming in there, like Lance Archer and a bunch of other people from New Japan that were there, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and I just want to point out that Team Taz to me is actually a good thing. Taz has come in and developed these guys, and his rivalry with Brian Cage now after that championship match at the last pay per view. Um, I think it should be good. Brian Cage needs to get away from that group and kind of branch off. And I've always liked that guy. He's really, really talented. Um, the other thing I want to quickly point out is Andrade also made his debut for AEW and had a great match. I see great things for Andrade and AEW. I also see great things for Malachi Black, the former Aleister Black that WWE basically said, screw you, you're fired, which I don't understand why. They're going to regret that because he's going to be a star in AEW. And Miro. Like, Nero, again, as Rusev in WWE, he was okay, but he's doing more things here in AEW. I mean, TNT champion. He's got this heel thing going on that's so good, so great. The women's division also for AEW has been amazing. We've had some amazing women's championship matches, and I've been so impressed with Britt Baker and I mean Nyla Rose and Anna Jay and Abaddon, and just the list goes on and on and on. I mean, their women's division is just stacked, and I see wonderful things also with this rivalry between Cody and Malachi Black. I think that this could be a great thing as well. Andrade with Vicky Guerrero is also a great thing. Um, Dynamite has been solid since they started, going on the road and performing in some of these cities in Texas, and um, then we have the homecoming show coming up soon as well down in Jacksonville, Florida, basically for the premiere. Um, what I'm liking about AEW is we're getting great matches, and yes, there are a lot of factions, but I mean, Matt Hardy with his own faction with the Bunny and Butcher and Blade and all the other people that are involved in this group. I can't keep track of everybody. Like, there's people every single week that's practically joining. But I'm just going to say AEW to me is one of the best wrestling companies right now. They put on amazing shows, and I'm seeing it more and more. And Tony Khan, to me, is doing everything correct that wrestling should have been doing years ago. That's having veterans work with these young talents and making them into superstars. And I could see AEW actually gaining a lot of fan base over the next few years as well. I mean, look at all the people who are in there, and a Chris Jericho and a John Moxley.